The Giants Postgame Live presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. My name is Madelyn Burke alongside the Super Bowl champion Amani, Toomer. And Amani, the Giants went to the nation's capital for a Week 2 matchup with the Washington Commanders, and it was a 30-yard field goal as time expires that secured the win for Washington. 21-18 is the final score. It's tough to see when you look at a Washington team putting 7 field goals up, and that's enough to get them the win against a Giants team that lost Graham Gano, their kicker, on the opening drive.
Yeah, you look at it and you think, the Giants had opportunities to win this game, but then you got to look at it also as how well the Giants played in the red zone defense and forcing Washington for 7 field goals, keeping them out of the end zone. And there was a lot of players on defense that really, stood out. Drew Phillips is a guy who stood out. The fact that he was real physical, made some really great tackles down the stretches. And, coming off of last week's performance to this week's performance, you saw a marked improvement in the overall team chemistry. And, of course, they didn't win, which we all would want. But the fact that they played and there's a much better brand of football that we're looking at now than we were looking at last week.
Yeah, it's tough to see, though, leaving 3 points on the board with no extra points. Earlier this week, Brian Dable said, hey, how do you turn around the production of this team from Week 1 to Week 2? He said, score touchdowns. The Giants did that. They scored a touchdown on the opening drive of the game for the first time in 27 games, snapping a 27-game streak, the longest active streak in the National Football League. So getting touchdowns, getting in the end zone 3 different times. You got Devin Singletary getting in the end zone. You get Malik Neighbors getting in the end zone. You got Wan'Dale Robinson scoring a touchdown, but unable to go with the extra point because of Graham Gano's injury. Jamie Gillen attempted the first one. It didn't go, so they went for 2 each of the subsequent times.
Yeah, that was a real, towards the end, it really started to show its head because the fact that the Giants were close enough to maybe kick a field goal there, but when Malik Neighbors dropped the ball, it was, they had to go for it on 4th down, which probably ordinarily would have been in field goal range. So all those type of things, aren't very good, especially when you lose your kicker on the first play of the game. That really puts you in a hole. Most of these games end up being 3-point games at the end, and the fact that they just didn't get an opportunity to get those extra points, to take advantage of the fact that in the red zone the Giants were scoring touchdowns and Washington wasn't. The fact that we didn't have our field goal kicker made it so that it was a moot point. It kind of evened itself out.
Right, because in the 4th quarter, you're driving down the field. If you've got your kicker, you're in field goal range, you're going for it. Instead, on 4th and short, Daniel Jones throws to Malik Neighbors, his 18th attempt of the day, and Neighbors just short doesn't come down with it. You saw as the Commanders were driving down the field in that last drive of the game how dejected Neighbors was on the sideline, but that doesn't take away from the game he had. He had his first 100-yard game as a receiver, in just 2 games. How long did it take you to get 100?
It took me about 4 years to get a 100-yard game, and he really looked dominant today. And Daniel Jones, for all the stuff that he's been taking for his performance last week, came out and had a really solid game. 16 of 28 with 2 touchdowns, 178 yards. The most important number, 0 turnovers. He played well enough to win this game. The Giants probably should have won this game, and hopefully they can keep on this type of trajectory to be more competitive than they were in Week 1.
Well, and one thing that we said in Week 1 was, hey, all offseason we've been talking about the deep ball. We didn't see that in Week 1. Week 2, we saw a few attempts. They didn't quite connect on those, but he was sending it downfield and consistently going to Malik Neighbors on that play. They've seemed to develop already quite the chemistry, but attempting the deep pass, what do you make of that?
I think it opens up the rest of the field for everybody else. I think, Malik Neighbors had his first 100-yard game, but I felt like there are some areas where he can improve on. Of course, he's still a rookie. He's in his 2nd game. There's a lot of upside to him. I'm really excited to see what he's going to turn into towards the end of the year. I think this is a good learning experience for him, and for him to learn at playing at such a high level, it just makes you understand that there's a high ceiling for him, and really looking forward to see what he can do once he gets some more experience, once he gets more comfortable in playing in the NFL.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors, 127 yards and a touchdown on the day. But from the passing game to the running game, the run game was going as well. Devin Singletary nearing 100. He had 16 carries, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Of course, that touchdown on the opening drive of the game. You want to see the run game going. We've seen a lot of success from running backs wearing 26 in Washington. Great to see that continue today.
Yeah, when I look at his game today, Singletary, the fact that, he had that fumble, but the fumble was if you look at the rule book as it is currently right now, it is illegal for a defensive player to physically punch the football. And if you punch the football, it's supposed to be a penalty, because if you miss the punch and you hit the player, it's a player safety thing. I don't know why if they don't want to call it, then take it off the books. But right now, it's on the books, and that should have been a penalty. You cannot punch at the football, because if, just like I said before, if you hit somebody, that could cause a fight or something like that. So when I'm looking at this game, it just frustrates me that it's not the way that it's. If you don't want to call it, then don't put it on the books.
Which is fascinating, because we were watching the game and you mentioned that play is illegal. None of us actually believed you and actually looked up the rule book. And yes, it is. And it's, it's got a cute name, the Peanut Punch, famous for Charles Peanut Tillman, who made that move famous. But I think, we see it happen a lot. It is not actually a legal move, but the refs didn't call it, and the Giants had to kind of play on. Giants.
It sounds like sour grapes, but it's still, if it's on the books, you got to call it.
Exactly. Rules are rules, people.
The rules are made to be followed.
The Giants defense, though, especially in the red zone, held their own. Washington, of course, having quite a few penalties in the red zone that didn't help them. But also the sacks. 5 sacks on the day after last week having just one. Today, though, it was all DBs and linebackers getting to the quarterback, including Andrew Phillips, who was a co-leader in tackles, the young rookie. A lot of success from some of these young guys on defense, Amani.
Yeah, this is one of the younger teams in the NFL on the defensive side of the ball, and now you're going to see games where they're going to play exceptionally well, and they're going to live up to their potential. Then you're going to see games where they underperform just because of their inexperience. So now you're seeing a team with a lot of talent, with a lot of ability. It's just they have to get used to defense, get used to it. We have a new defensive coordinator. So all these types of things are going to take place, and we're going to allow our, there's an upside to this defense is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, 37 minutes and 32 seconds time of possession for the Washington Commanders. Mm-hmm. They had the ball for quite a while. Yeah. Bend but don't break, as the Giants held them to 7 field goals on the day in the red zone. 21-18 is the final score as the Giants fall to 0-2. We'll continue to break this one down, but Giants fans, it's Moody's. Decode risk, unlock opportunity. You can learn more at moodys.com. We've got more to come on the show. Giants head coach Brian Daboll joining us after the break. Giants fans, October 13th, the Giants will host the Cincinnati Bengals for Sunday Night Football. 100th season celebrations will continue with a halftime ceremony celebrating the 07 and 11 Super Bowl teams. And the first 25,000 fans through the gates will receive a Tom Coughlin bobblehead. Limited tickets available. Scan the QR code for options. Today's scoring drive of the game is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. Citizens is made for Giants fans. For the scoring drive of the game, we bring you to the fourth quarter. 10 plays, 69 yards, took a minute and 42 off the clock. And it's actually the second quarter. Malik Neighbors caps it with a 4-yard touchdown reception from Daniel Jones. And the score would be 12-9 after that play. For every scoring drive this season, Citizens will donate $750 to the Giants Foundation to support their work tackling important community issues, improving overall health, and empowering our youth. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. The Giants went out to Washington, fell to the Commanders 21-18. For more, let's send it down to the field where Paul Dottino and Howard Cross are standing by.
Okay, thanks, Madelyn. Here at a view from the field, 3 very good things happened for the Giants, but went sour in the end. For example, Malik Neighbors, 10 catches for 127 yards and a touchdown unofficially. But Howard, obviously he's going to remember the 4th down drop here at the end of the game. That would have been a first down and potentially could have been a game-winning drive for the Giants.
Yeah, but he did have a great game. He had 10 catches during the game. He did a good job moving the ball, getting himself open. On the last play there, the ball was a little high. He's going to the sideline, falling, trying to drag his feet. That's a hard catch for you. especially late in the game, but he did a good job for the rest of the game. I don't have nothing to say but good things with that kid.
Okay, the second point with somewhat mixed results. We look at Devin Singletary, 16 carries unofficially for 95 yards and a touchdown. But again, he had a fumble, ball security issue in the offensive zone when the Giants looked as though they might be able to go in for a score there in the second half.
Singletary also had a really good game, fighting for extra yards, got the ball poked out from behind. It's one of those things that's going to happen during games. I think after that, you saw him every time he got in traffic and open field, he had both hands on the ball. Not the end of the game, but a really good time for him.
Okay, the third thing, the Giants allowed the Commanders to get to their 15 or closer 6 different times. All 6 times, the Commanders had to settle for a field goal. On one hand, you got to be thrilled with that. On the other hand, the game-winning drive goes 8 plays, 67 yards, and the field goal at the end, at the gun, is the difference in a win and a loss.
Yeah, the big difference in the game probably was Renault getting hurt on the first play of the game. He pulled his hamstring. Not having nobody out there that could kick the ball free for extra points hurt a lot. The defense got hurt. They had to bend but don't break. The problem, they were bending too much. They bent in the middle of the field. They stopped them in the red zone. They needed to get a 3 and out somewhere in the game or stop them for the game, but they were always marred with a penalty here or a penalty there.
On that last drive when Noah Brown caught the big 34-yard pass to bring it into Giants territory, could you see exactly how he got lost in the defense?
He didn't get lost in defense. For whatever reason, Cordell Flott was playing off of him, and he just ran an in cut. He could have been playing a lot closer to him. You're talking about a 9-year vet, not known for blowing by guys. He could have been a little bit more in his pocket there to try to slow it down.
All right, and finally, Howard, Giants now 0-2. One quick thought about how they pick up the pieces.
They're going to pick up the pieces. I thought they showed a lot of great improvement today. The offensive line played well. They ran the ball a lot better. Daniel got the ball out. There's going to be a few other guys that are going to get involved. I look forward to the tight ends getting a little bit more involved in the future. I'm really looking forward to the defense finding a way to stop the run.
All right, that'll do it from the field. Let's go back to the studio.
Thanks so much. Good stuff from Paul and Howard. Back in studio, Madelyn, Burke, and Amani, Toomer. And one of the things, Howard pointed out, this is a very different team looking than we saw from week 1. But of course, Washington's penalties, you know, Washington shooting themselves in the foot and the Giants unable to fully capitalize off of that today. Yeah,
they were unable to capitalize, but the brand of football, the overall, tenor of this team, it was a loss. But the loss was, like I said before, it was a much more competitive performance from this Giants team, both offensively and defensively. And you have Shane Brown, a new defensive coordinator. You got to it takes a while for defenses to really understand the defense coordinator, what he likes and what he doesn't like. And when it comes down to time where the game's on the line, what is that defense coordinator going to call? To have that confidence, it takes time. So I remember when we won the Super Bowl in 2007, we were 0-2. So this is not the end of it all. There's a lot of football left, especially now when they have an extra game with 17 games. So I think there's optimism because they played so well. Of course, you want to win, but the fact that Daniel Jones looked so much better than he did the week before, and I think a lot of people were burying him and putting him under the bus. He is a legitimate quarterback. He played well today. With all the chips are down, I think it shows to his character. A lot of people can play when everybody's on your back telling you that you can't play. So I got to give it up to Daniel Jones for his performance today. A drop away from winning the game. We're putting the ball right where it needed to be with Malik Neighbors. Just didn't come up with it, but I think the Giants have a lot to build off of this near victory.
Absolutely. Daniel Jones heard the criticisms earlier this week. He said, hey, listen, I get it. And I'm not going to take it personally because I know I want to go out there and do better, and he did just that this week. Giants still took the loss 21-18 to the Commanders. We'll continue to break this one down as the show rolls on, but want to remind you guys, Giants fans, the official 100th season book titled New York Football Giants, The People, The Moments, The Traditions, is now available exclusively at the Giants online shop. This book explores the top 100 players of all time, including number 16, Amani, Toomer. Unforgettable games and stories that have defined the franchise for the last century. Visit the Giants online shop to get yours today. We've got much more player sound and reaction as Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health, continues after this break. Stay with us. Giants fans, join the Giants text alert community for breaking news, sweepstakes, ticket offers, and important game day information. Just scan the QR code on your screen or text GIANTS to 201-636-1569 to get started. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. The Giants fell to the Commanders 21-18. Let's send it down as head coach Brian Daboll is at the podium.
All right, it's a competitive game, disappointed in the outcome. Proud of the way the guys competed. Thought our quarterback played well. Just a play here or there that we came up short on. And that's the outcome of the game, But I thought there was improvements made, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. Red zone, third down, effective running game, efficient passing game. We went for it there at the end of the game. Thought our chances were good throwing it to Malik with Daniel, the way we were playing. Better than making whatever 40-yard or 39-yard field goal. So that's what I decided to do.
Brian, can you describe your reasoning for only having one kicker active today?
Yeah, because we thought Graham would be okay. He got hurt chasing down a hamstring. He didn't hurt his groin, he hurt his hamstring.
But Brian, are you saying that you can't hurt your hamstring running with favoring your groin?
I'm not a doctor.
Isn't that part of the deal, though? You have to, that it is a risk. Like you had the same thing last year with him. Like he came in with an injury. You're taking a risk that it could get re-injured. Why not have it?
I mean, anybody can get injured, Jordan. So,
but not,
again,
he was
chasing. I got you. He was chasing a kickoff return. He pulled his hamstring. I'm not making excuses.
Whose decision was it not to activate another kicker?
Yeah, we thought he was good. We thought he was good.
Yours or?
Yeah, all the decisions that are made are mine.
Brian, just on the past? You have trusted Jamie Gillen to kick an extra point or a field goal. Why not today?
He missed the first one. We thought our chances were better going for it or going for two as the game went on, and how we were playing offensively. I felt good about our plays. We had one to Slay, had an opportunity there at 2 point, had another one to Tracy. They ended up covering it. We scrambled, and then we went for it on 4th and 3. It was 4th and 3 right at the end of Neighbors, on a little undergo where we didn't finish it off.
Brian,
so.
just on the kickoff, on the first kickoff, was the design there to kick the ball to the 2, or did you want him to kick it through and he just didn't get it far?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into strategy, but again, I feel bad for Graham. I feel bad for us. But no excuses. We had our opportunities.
You said you thought Graham was fine. In warm-ups, he was clearly uncomfortable. He didn't do his full routine. Why even maybe not just have Jamie handle kickoff so you don't put yourself maybe in that position?
Yeah, again, we talked about a lot of things, Dan. We thought he'd be good to go. We talked to him, talked to the trainers, and again, I can't tell you he's going to get hurt chasing down a 100-yard kickoff return that was called back, but. Again.
But isn't a player at a higher increase? Isn't a player at a higher risk of injury when he's dealing with a soft tissue injury?
Yeah, I'd say I'm not a doctor.
What I was trying to ask was, are you and Joe both involved in the decision not to activate a kicker or not, or is it just yours?
No. So it's collective.
You mentioned that you thought you had a better chance going for it on the 4th down than the 40-yard field goal. But when you were up 3 early in the 4th quarter, you could have made it a 2-score game with that short PAT.
Yeah.
Did you give any consideration to that, or?
Yeah, I did like the play we had. That's the one to Slayton.
Yes.
That we had an opportunity on to make. Yeah. So I felt comfortable with what we did.
But it was as simple as he missed the first one, and you said we're just done with that.
No, we had discussions on there. I figured, look, we had some 2-point plays that we liked. Thought we knew what they were doing, which we did, and didn't end up making the plays.
Was there a yard marker that if you had gotten to it, you would have kicked the field goal?
At the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How seriously did you contemplate elevating Jude?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the discussions that we had.
Did you at least contemplate it, or was that not even?
Yeah,
you guys thought
again, we thought
100% he's good. We don't
thought
need to worry
Graham
about
was
it at
good.
all.
We thought Graham was good. I think he would have been good if he didn't pull his hamstring.
Following up on what Connor asked, what was the yard marker at the end?
Yeah, again, I'm not going to get into where it was at.
One of the things you liked when you hired Shane Bowen was his rushing defense. They ran for like 200 and
Yeah, they rushed the ball well. They were efficient in the passing game. We had them in a lot of third and longs that we didn't stop them on. We did play good red zone defense, which held up, but certainly areas that we got to be better at. Were rushing the ball. They were efficient, and then we had them in some long yardage. I think we had 5 sacks, like that. We had them some long yardage that they capitalized on.
Daniels had some scrambles in some of those third and long. What did you guys? I mean, coming in, that's kind of the book on him. He's going to run. So
Yeah, a couple of them we had spies on them. Yep.
What do you say to Neighbors? Had such a big game, and then couldn't finish that play you mentioned. What do you say to a rookie in that situation?
Keep your head up. Yeah, keep your head up.
What did you think of how he played overall?
Who's that?
Malik.
Play well. Yeah, thought he played well. Thought Daniel played well. Thought the line played well. Thought Motor ran hard. Thought we were efficient. You know, Wandell made a nice play there in the end zone when we needed him to. Slayton had his opportunities, but you know, Neighbors, it was a bunch of one-on-one coverage, and they start running split safety. So when we were playing split safety, we ran the ball some, post high, we threw it to him. What do you have? 18 targets. 18 targets. So what do you have? 10 catches.
10.
Yeah, you know, and it's, you know, last one he's competitive as can be. So I appreciate how competitive and how much he cares.
What do you think about 18 targets for one player? That's a pretty healthy number. You good with
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
Ryan, are you concerned about your job if the results don't change here?
Yeah,
In-season-
I mean, I've done
in-season-
this for a long time, Pat. You know, my focus is on our football team.
Daves, do you think looking back that you should have elevated the kicker? Like, if you could turn back time, would you change that decision?
Knowing that he was going to get hurt on the first kickoff, yeah, certainly. On a pulled hamstring, yeah.
And just to be clear.
I mean, if look, any player gets hurt
No, I
at a
get
certain position, if the quarterback gets hurt, I mean, whatever it may be. So certainly, yeah. I mean, he got hurt, so yeah, it's too bad.
But he popped up on the injury report yesterday. I know he didn't injure his groin, but he didn't look comfortable in warm-ups. You have a contingency plan conceivably in June. This isn't the first time this type of thing has happened where you guys have left yourself shorthanded, whether it be Gunner last week, Gano last year. So I'm curious, why not take the extra precaution to just have Jude active, and in case the worst-case scenario happens, knowing if he's fully healthy, it's different, but he came in less than 100%.
Yeah, again, we felt okay with the decision that we make. Obviously, didn't pan out because he pulled his hamstring.
2 more. No more?
How can your offense build on what you feel you get better today if your defense can't force punts?
Yeah, well, I think it's complementary football, so it's the entire units. It's working together. Obviously, we got to do a better job on third down. I think we were, 4 of 8, 50% on third down, which was another good improvement, but they were 7 of 14, 50% on third down. They were 0 for 6 in the red zone. We were 3 for 3. Turnover again, I talked about it last night, that turnover was critical coming out of half. We had a drive going, and we didn't create any, so that was a loss in the turnover ratio, which I said during a press conference on Thursday, was 10-1 last week. So good. We got to work on some things we improved on, and we'll continue to do that.
You said you thought your quarterback played well.
Yeah.
Last week there was obviously a lot of talk about him and his confidence and the way he performed. What do you think he did better? Why do you say you think he played well?
I thought he went where he was supposed to go with the football. He, saw the field well, threw it to the guy that he was supposed to throw it to, gave him chances. We had chances on other plays too that, maybe we didn't connect on. But I was proud of him. I was proud of the way he competed. I was proud of the way he prepared during the week. I was proud of his mental toughness. I thought he did a nice job.
Okay. Dave, thanks. Locker room's open.
That sound from head coach Brian Dable is brought to you by your local Ford stores. Ford is proud to be the official truck of the New York Football Giants. Amani, we heard a lot of questions about, hey, what went into not elevating another kicker? It is a long shot that the kicker is going to be injured on a tackle in the opening play of the game. So I can see the frustration there in not making that decision, right?
Yeah, but hindsight is 20/20. Like the fact that, first of all, how many times do kickers actually get hurt?
Exactly.
And how many times do you carry 2 kickers? Were you going to take somebody off of special teams that could actually help the game, more percentage of the game than just on that one play? I think it's ridiculous. I think that being mad that a kicker got hurt, I just feel like the reporters went on down a totally wrong vein. There's so much stuff that happened in this game that was way more important, way more significant than the kicker getting hurt. It's a freak thing. And one of the things about it is you can't mitigate football. Football is inherently dangerous. Inherently, you're putting yourself out there. Things happen on a football field. And I just feel like you can't look at the results. You got to look at the intent. And I feel like they didn't intend this to happen. So I just feel that people these reporters are talking about things that aren't really as significant as what actually happened on the field. The Giants improved a lot this game, had an opportunity to win, which wasn't the same as last week.
Right, improved a lot, and one of the things Brian Daboll said was an improvement is the play of Daniel Jones, saying, he saw the field well, he threw where he was supposed to throw, he gave the team chances, and Daboll saying, I'm proud of Daniel Jones's mental toughness. Now, after the break, we're going to hear from the quarterback as the show rolls on. We've got much more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, but first, want to remind you all that guests of our postgame show received a gift certificate to Ben & Jack's, located on 44th Street in Manhattan. From celebrated porterhouse to finer seafood, Ben & Jack's will surpass your expectations of what a steakhouse should be. After the break, Daniel Jones, 16-28, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. We'll hear from the quarterback as Giants Postgame Live continues.
Devin, you've been in this league a long time, so you know that sometimes with the good, there comes the bad. Yeah. How do you weigh the frustration over coming so close in this one and losing it down at the stretch?
Man, just got to use it as fuel. That's really what it come down to. We know we're real close, headed in the direction we want to go in. Today wasn't the outcome that we wanted, but just got to use this as fuel.
You guys did get the running game going much better than you did last week, and you certainly ran hard. That was certainly a step in the right direction. What was going right that you'll be able to use there?
Yeah, man, the big guys just getting movement. Big guys, got the receivers getting in, the tight ends getting in on it, and we could definitely build off of that.
All right. Now I have to ask you about the fumble.
Yeah.
Looked like the guy came in and punched it out from behind. You probably didn't even see him.
Yeah, I felt him. I tried to put Debo in trouble, but I had it in my inside arm, and he got me. Can't have that. You want to win in the game, you got to win the turnover battle, and we lost the turnover battle today.
How difficult is that, even as a veteran, to be able to put that out of your mind so that as the game continues to progress, you don't start thinking about a ghost?
Yeah, sometimes it can be difficult, but that's our mentality. Next play mentality, good or bad, you got to make the next play your best play.
It was a seesaw game, nip and tuck all the way.
That was our Paul Dottino with Devin Singletary in the locker. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Madelyn, Burke, and Amani Toomer breaking down the Week 2 loss to the Commanders. 21-18 is the final score. Amani, after Week 1, one of the points that Brian Daboll made in leading into this Week 2 matchup was, hey, we got to establish the run. We have to have a threat of a run game. Devin Singletary finishing the day with 95 yards and a touchdown, a 22-yard long. There were a few drives where they were feeding him pretty regularly. What did you like from what you saw from Motor?
I liked the fact that after contact, he was, getting loose from the first contact. 5.9 yards a carry. That's phenomenal. Usually in the NFL, where the Mendoza line is kind of 4 yards a carry. So if you get 5.9, you're almost 6. You're doing pretty well. It's an effective, efficient running attack. I liked the way he ran the ball. I liked he just had the energy and gave a spark to this team. And not only him, but this whole offensive line. Devin Singletary even mentioned how the offensive line was moving people. That wasn't the case last week. So I feel like there's a lot of positives to build upon. There's 2 things you can do in a loss. You can either kill your team and tell how bad they are, or you can say, you know what, this is where we are now, and focus on where we're going to be in the future. This game is a game where this Giants team is on an uptick. And because of that, I think that you got to take all the positives and build upon them instead of getting beat down, because beating this team down is not going to do any good.
Right.
They have a lot of talented players, younger talented players that have an opportunity to grow into something. So hopefully in 3 or 4 weeks, they'll be an entirely different team because of the experience that a lot of these younger players are going to get.
Right, you mentioned the offensive line, just their second game playing together as a unit as well. This time in the season for any team, especially a team with a lot of new pieces, you're still kind of finding a rhythm because not many starters play in the preseason.
Yeah.
So they're still getting a feel for each other. And how much are you seeing that make a difference from week 1 to week 2?
This team looked markedly different on offense. They looked like they were a competent group. Of course, there was some mistakes. There was some fumbles. They lost the turnover battle. But even if you look at Washington, they had more penalties than the Giants did. They were 0 for 6 in the red zone. That is, you're not going to win many games like that. But unfortunately, they won today and beat the Giants. But there's a lot of positives to look forward in this game, and I feel like that the positives kind of outweigh the fact that this team came up a little bit short today.
Week 2 of 18, a lot of season left, but the arrow is pointing up from week 1, that's for sure. We got more show coming your way after this. It's Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Continues after the break. We've got more player sound and reaction coming your way. Stay with us as the Giants' 100th season rolls on. Today's Player of the Game presented by HCL Tech, supercharging progress, the official digital transformation partner of the New York Football Giants. The Player of the Game, rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors, 10 receptions on 18 targets, 127 yards and a touchdown. 2 games into his NFL career, he's got a honey bun and a touchdown, his first career touchdown. Congratulations, Malik Neighbors, the HCL Tech Player of the Game in week 2. But of course, the guy who threw him the ball, quarterback Daniel Jones, is now at the podium in Washington. Let's send it down.
What were your thoughts on the way things went this week compared to last week? I mean, obviously you didn't pull out the win, but did you feel like the offense at least, made some strides you guys can build on going forward?
Yeah, I thought executed at a higher level. Did some good things in the run game. Did some good things in the pass game. It's kind of a ball control game where they were they had good times of possession. I thought we did too. So you got to convert on your opportunities when you're in a game like that. And a couple plays, we got to find a way to make, and it's on all of us.
What do you say? I'm sorry, I'm late, David. What did you say to Malik after he plays a great game and then doesn't come down with the 18th target?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that we wouldn't be in the position that we were in without the game that he played, and as a rookie coming in, and he played really well. It was big time for us throughout the game. Made tons of big plays, and it was a matchup issue for him all day. So I think he knows that. I mean, he knows he played a good game, and we gotta pick him up. He's a competitor. He holds himself to a high standard, so I know it bothers him, but gotta keep pressing forward.
It was a difficult week for you, obviously coming off the last game. It's a loss, so I don't know. This might be a better question Wednesday, but do you feel any better or more confident? Do you feel better about your performance where you are coming out of this game than you did all week?
Yeah, I mean, I think despite what the expectation was after last week, I felt confident. I felt confident in our group, confident in myself, and thought we prepared well this week at practice, and we'll continue to build confidence through our process and through our hard work. And obviously we're all very disappointed with the outcome today, and got to work to finish it up. But in terms of my confidence and the team's confidence, I don't think that's going anywhere.
You've been part of some heartbreaking losses. What does it do to a locker room when you guys are left short at kicker? Does that create frustrations with the management of the game, the coaching of the game, when you guys are left without a kicker? And you can point to that as a reason that you lose.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to make any excuses. It's football, stuff like that happens, and people go down. I thought, considering the situation, we managed it how we had to, and we got to look at what we could have done better. Look at those 2-point plays, a couple of situations here and there, and where we can convert. I mean, Obviously, it's not ideal to lose your kicker on the first play and changes how the game's played, but we're not going to make any excuses and got to find a way to make a couple more plays.
Did you guys as an offense at any point, I mean, I don't know if towards the end of the game you felt like you could kick a field goal if you got to a certain point, or like throughout the game, did you guys just think it's 4-down territory once we get down there and we're going to have to just get in the end zone?
I think that's a better question for Dabes in terms of how he was handling it. I mean, I think in the situations that came up there, you know, he told me it was 4-down territory, and I operate according to that. You know, where that line was or how he would have played a certain situation is hypothetical and better question for him.
Daniel, were you aware this morning? ESPN Adam Schefter made a very prominent headline out of the fact that you have this injury guarantee next year and that it could be a factor and an issue. Okay, like it's happened with other quarterbacks where they've been benched because of similar instances. Were you aware of that prior to the game? What's your reaction to that, you know, leaking or being pushed prior to your second start of the season?
Yeah, I hadn't heard the report. This is the first time hearing of it. You know, I think my job is to play well and to put this team in a position to win games. And, you know, how they handle that and you know, what comes out, you know, where it comes from, I don't know. You know, that's up to them on how that's communicated. But my job is to play good football, put the team in a position to win games and focus on my job. So, you know, I'm not in control of any of that.
That was Giants quarterback Daniel Jones as we take a look at his numbers today. Week 2 against the Commanders. No beard in the headshot, huh? All right, 16-28 for 178 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, adding 5 rushing attempts with 32 yards with his feet. Amani, earlier this week, Jalen Hyatt was talking about Daniel Jones. I mean, Giants fans were loud with their disappointment after week 1, but Hyatt reminded everyone, hey, this guy's coming off an ACL injury. He's just 8 months removed from a pretty significant injury right there. You have had an ACL.
Yeah,
how would you, 2 of them, yeah. You've had 2 ACL injuries. How would you articulate just what it's like coming back from that kind of injury?
Coming back from ACL is like having a flat tire. You know, you think everything's okay until you try to push off and explode, and you're just not getting the same amount of push as you ordinarily would. So it takes a while for you to kind of get used to your new body, and also as hard as it is to get it back, once it comes back quickly. I remember a year to date after my ACL, I just was running one day in practice and the coach was like, wow, you look quicker. And I'm like, well, I'm just coming off of this surgery. So those are the types of things that you have to fight through. And let me just say this about Daniel Jones. He was absolutely buried by the New York media. There's not many players, like not many players want to come to New York because not many players can, in certain situations, because not many players can handle that type of scrutiny and stand up and put their belly up to the bar like he did today. He didn't have the best game, but he had a game that was solid where he showed everybody that he's shaking off all of this noise on the outside. And what he said there at the end, I can't control all that stuff, that's exactly the way you have to handle yourself as a quarterback of the New York Football Giants. And I want to give a hat tip to him because of that. Not a lot of players can overcome when they can hear all that noise, and I think he's handling it really well.
Absolutely, staying focused on the task at hand and the team at hand as the New York Football Giants, their season continues. Our show continues after this break. Giants Postgame Live brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. We'll continue with more player sound reaction, but first I want to remind you to check out the Eli Manning Show presented by Panini Prism Trading Cards. All you have to do is subscribe to the Giants YouTube channel to catch all the new shows. It's the Eli Manning Show. Subscribe today. Catch all the latest.
I think, you know, if there's a will, there's a way. So 17 games, all you can do is focus on, you know, what you can control and continue to get better.
Kayvon, seeing Daniels in person now, how much faster and quicker is he maybe than what you saw in film?
You know, we knew what to expect coming out. He's a great player, and he executed when they needed him.
They had 6 trips to the 15 or closer, and you guys held them to a field goal every time. To me, that's a positive you have to build on, even though obviously at the end you didn't stop them from scoring.
Yeah, you just got to keep building, man. You got to, take what you can use and flush the rest.
Thanks, you.
That's Kayvon Thibodeau as we take a look at his numbers against the Commanders in week 2. 3 tackles, 2 quarterback hits, 2 tackles for loss, almost a sack, although Jane Daniels was outside the pocket, so they didn't call it a sack there. But Kayvon Thibodeau getting on the stat sheet as we take a look, but the Giants still falling just short. 21-18 is the final, Amani.
Yeah, I think that, from what we're hearing in the locker room, they have the right mindset, right? They're focused on getting better. They're focused on winning. You can't focus on things in the past or the outside noise. The only people that are going to turn this season around or make this team more competitive are in that locker room. And I feel like they are right on track in terms of where their mindset is from the few people that we've interviewed from the sideline or in the locker room.
Absolutely, and they've got a lot to build on. They got some strong stops on 3rd down in the red zone when it counted, and of course they'll get back to the drawing board as they look ahead to week 3. We'll do that after the break, but first, as the Giants' 100th season rolls on, we got to look back at some of the greatest players. Name that Giant, a 4th-round draft pick in 1976, 9-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl 21 champ, and inducted into the College and Pro Football Hall of Fame. We're back with the answer after this break on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. We left you with this before the break. Who is that Giant? 4th-round draft pick in 1976, 9-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl 21 champ, inducted into the College and Pro Football Hall of Fame. Amani, who's your guess?
That is Harry. He calls me P6 because we met at the Harry Carson. They call me P6 because he met at the economy lot in Newark Airport.
The captain.
The captain.
Honestly, there were a couple of guesses that I had, but you're right. You pointed it out. Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That just
dead giveaway right there. Harry Carson.
Unbelievable player.
Unbelievable player. Welcome back to the studio. Madelyn, Burke, and Amani Toomer hanging out as we break down the Giants' Week 2 loss to the Commanders, 21-18. But you know what? We're turning the page because Week 3, the Giants are back on the road. They'll be facing the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. Now, Cleveland, of course, today had an 18-13 win over the Jaguars in Jacksonville, but it was a game in which the Browns had 13 penalties for 100 yards, a very similar narrative to the way that the Washington Commanders played the game. How can the Giants kind of use that and say, hey, look at it, if they're going to be making these kind of mistakes, how do we capitalize off of them in Week 3?
They need to play very close to vest football, almost like they did today. But if they cut down just a few more mistakes and get a kicker in, or maybe Graham Gano comes back, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but they got to get a field goal kicker in. And I like the way they played today, very close to the vest. Not too many mistakes, except for the fumble and the drop ball. But other than that, I think this team they're poised to win because they're playing very well, both on offensive line and defense side of the ball.
Trending in the right direction,
Absolutely.
fixing. And of course, missing a kicker is a huge impact. You can't go at the PAT. You're in field goal range and you're not trusting your punter to do it. It makes a big impact. Of course, they will have a kicker on the roster, whether it's Jude or if Graham Gano is healthy by Week 3. And we will be here to recap it all. Thanks so much for hanging with us on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. For Amani Toomer, I'm Madelyn Burke. We'll see you next week.